everybody's doing good this evening. We're going to be working on some outside ways of playing here. Basically, three approaches about pentatonics today, but pentatonics in different kind of contexts. We'll talk about playing them technical way, playing them in the changes, and then playing them as free as possible in the changes. So kind of two contexts in the changes, one context in just warming up with your scales. And we're going to apply it to a tune called Soft as the Morning Sunrise. If you know that one, pretty a jazz standard for sure. That little tune. So we're going to talk about that tune. We're going to look at a transcription of another saxophone player on that is kind of using some different techniques to play outside of the changes. So yeah, I'm going to play the tune as people are joining in here, and then we'll get started on today's material. So really, when I'm playing that tune, I'm kind of playing D minor or concert C minor here. This is the B flat chart. Or thinking about just the dominant chord, right? So thinking about this as concert G7 flat 9, G7 altered, or A7 altered for me, which is A to A with A to A in the key of B flat melodic minor. So I'm playing. And that to me really helps kind of solidify that, dark D minor, E, and A. So D minor pentatonic is cool. But to get that contrast of that sound, I'll play the B flat melodic minor. That, and then kind of go back to my home scale of D minor. D minor pentatonic. So speaking of D minor pentatonic, let's look at this minor pentatonic exercise here. We're going to switch to, I guess we could do it in concert pitch here. So this is our C minor pentatonic scale. And these are some different exercises that you can work on to kind of get more familiar with this pentatonic language, which will be in context to what we work on with playing outside. Also, I'll say that while I'm doing this masterclass, just like every week, if you have anything you want to talk about or have a comment on what we're talking about, please put it in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'd love to interact with you guys and talk with you through there. So those of you that are joining us, definitely ask something in the chat or just say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. Love to hear from you. And also a suite of PDFs. So if you want to check those out, and there's a discount code in the link of in the description. So all the stuff that we're working on is in that suite of PDFs, all on their website. There's a link to it all right in the description. You can definitely check it out and hopefully get some PDFs here. So back to the lesson. These are minor pentatonic exercises. So we're playing C minor pentatonic. This first minor pentatonic exercise is basically just playing up every single tone of your minor pentatonic scale up 4 notes. So like 1, flat 3, 4, 5. They do the same thing from the flat 3, 4, 5, 7, and then from the 4, 4, 5, and just going up like that. So that's the first exercise. Doing that in all, doing that in all 12 keys is really beneficial. You have to really know every single note of your minor pentatonic scale, and it also helps the dexterity of going up and down. The descending version is the same thing, just going the opposite direction. So it kind of gets good finger technique for these pentatonic exercises, going through all 12 keys. Maybe doing them in circle of fourths or familiar with them. The minor pentatonic. So if we're in the key of C major here, we have the root or the 1, the flat 3, so E flat, the 4, the 5, the flat 7, and then the 1. So if my major scale, right now I'm just gonna flat the 3rd, so 1, flat 3, 4, 5. So that's what I'm gonna be thinking about when I put this in different keys, that number system. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. So if I want to go to E flat, I'm thinking E flat major. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. Going down. So that's kind of the thought process of putting these through different keys and just practicing them in general. Have a number system down as how they're spelt based on a major scale, based on a minor scale, whatever is comfortable for you, and then be able to put that through 12 keys, just thinking about that number system. But the exercise number 2 is the one I want to talk about because it's a really cool pattern to play, even just with in improvising in a tune, right? So we have 1, flat 3, 4, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, 5, 7, 1, flat 3, 7, 1. So I'm going to go back to C minor. So I like playing that kind of pattern like over Soft Ways of Morning Sunrise. And then the downwards version is also great. Play it as many octaves as you can. But having that in mind is like a really cool sound that can be played over Soft Ways of Morning Sunrise, right? So maybe you can start your solo with that phrase. 1, 2, go to the bridge, but having that kind of in your improvising as well as your, practice. You want to practice it kind of outside of improvising, like in a scale pattern sense, which is what we're doing right now, thinking about this in all 12 keys and moving it around and the number system that we talked about, and then trying to apply it to improvising. So just like maybe loop the A section of Soft Ways of Morning Sunrise a few times, play the melody, and then try and play the minor pentatonic pattern. So having it in context of playing it in a scale pattern and then in context of playing it in the tune. And what we want to talk about with playing different concepts of outside playing or outside the changes, it's cool to what we call a pentatonic shift, these tonalities over top of the tune. So if C minor or D minor for me on tenor is my home bass, we talked about playing the A altered scale or the B flat melodic minor scale starting on A as like the kind of darker sort of sound. That's a kind of an alternate tonality, even though it's sort of inside because it's kind of written here in the changes. But if D minor is our home bass, we should go something that's really far away from that harmonically to create something that's outside, right? So D minor, home base, we could go to E flat minor, it's pretty far away. We could go to A flat minor, the tritone substitution. We could go to the major 7 and play that one. There's lots of different options. One of my favorites that gets the most kind of abrupt sound is that half step away, so half step above our home scale. So if D minor is our home, we go to E flat minor pentatonic. So let's try that same pattern now in E flat minor. So 1, so E flat, flat 3, which is G flat, 4, which is A flat, and then back to 1, and then the pattern repeats itself just through the entire pentatonic scale. Sorry. Then going down, 1, flat 7, 5, 1. So having that pattern in mind, you can kind of improvise freely going between that D minor tonality or concert C to then E flat tonality or concert D flat, the minor pentatonics, and just play freely, switching back and forth between the two with the pattern in mind. So like slow and trying to play both of the minor pentatonics kind of back and forth, right? I'll try and do it a little bit faster. Now these aren't necessarily lines that I would play, you know, maybe in a tune or in a solo, but it's a good way to practice switching between those tonalities freely, right? I think playing, you know, kind of inside phrases and outside phrases in even amounts of bars. So like 1 bar of inside, 1 bar of outside, 1 bar of inside. You can even do this with beats. 4 beats of, or 2 beats of inside, 2 beats outside, 2 beats inside. It's very important though to resolve when playing these kind of really outside tonalities in even amounts of bars, I find. So even if you play, let's say, 1.5 bars of outside, you got to land and play, you know, on the downbeat of that next bar inside. You know, kind of resolve the phrase in like a 4 bar, 3 bar kind of way. So if I take softly, for instance, I'm going to play D minor pentatonic and E flat minor pentatonic, my scales. In concert, that would be C minor and D flat minor, and try and shift between those two using the pattern, but in even amounts of bars. So I'm going to try and do 2 bars of inside, 2 bars of outside, 2 bars of inside, 2 bars of outside. 1, 2, I'm just switching 2 bar phrases, 2 bar phrases. And the cool thing is with this pentatonic stuff is, especially when you're playing with the tonality in a band, that outside, you know, tonality really rubs against that D minor sound, right? So having that rub when you're playing with a cool, you know, a cool rhythm section, a good rhythm section, or a rhythm section that's listening to you, they'll be able to move with you. Maybe the piano player will play some different extensions to kind of create that up a half step sound while the bass player is still walking and playing the C minor or D minor sound on softly. So it's a kind of a cool way to, you know, entice the rhythm section to follow you harmonically and play, right? So just experiment around with playing the tune in these different pentatonics. access to that minor pentatonic PDF? Great question. We got a question in the chat. So if you go to the link in the description, it's a hyperlink right in the description of this video. You can click on all of our PDFs. You can find this one. It is called Pentatonics for Jazz Improvisation. And it has all of these different ones here in major and minor, going through some different patterns that Chad and all the guys at link in the description there. So that is the first way I want to talk about playing these minor pentatonics, pentatonic shifting, right? So this is another example of playing pentatonic shifting over a 2-5-1 progression, right? Major and minor. So no pattern here. We're just kind of switching tonalities, using common tones for pentatonic shifting over a chord progression. So we're using common tones between pentatonics, right? So whatever pentatonic we start with, we want to use a common tone to then go outside or come back inside from one pentatonic to the next. So we have a 2-5-1 here in C major. We were playing D minor pentatonic for our first bar, that's inside. E minor pentatonic for our G7 chord, that's inside. B minor pentatonic for our C major chord, that's pretty much inside except that F sharp that can kind of rub against it. Then over F major, we're playing G sharp minor pentatonic, that's very outside of F major. F minor pentatonic, so a tritone substitution of our B half diminished chord, and then back inside on our E7 flat 9 chord here, playing basically, let's see, D, E, G, A, B, E minor pentatonic there. That works really well, and then inside to our A minor pentatonic, finishing out the line. So let me play the line for you. 1, 2. So just for some context, our chords. What tune is this? Autumn Leaves. So that's the tonality of this progression here. It's basically like the A section on Autumn Leaves. So inside pentatonics, D minor over D minor, E minor over G7, all common tones, B minor over C major, very cool sound, G sharp minor over F major, really out, F minor over B half diminished, pretty out there, tritone substitution, excuse me, E minor 7 pentatonic, we are playing E minor pentatonic, then A minor 7, we're playing A minor pentatonic. So those are our inside and outside tonalities here. So we are pentatonic shifting. The common tones here are common tones with the pentatonic before. So E minor and D minor have a G tones. E and B have A as a common tone, have B as a common tone. B and G sharp minor have F sharp as a common tone. G sharp minor and F minor have A flat or G sharp as a common tone. And then E and F minor have, let's see, actually those are not related at all. Yes, that's true. So I think this is also sort of like A minor pentatonic. So the C natural will be the common tone between A minor and F. And the G natural is kind of the, wait, let's see. The B natural is what defines E7 here. But A natural and C natural being the common tone between F minor and A minor there. So those are the common tones when we go back inside the tonality. So I'm trying to hear the tune. So just kind of looping this section. I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear this backing track, but check this out. Exactly playing the patterns here, which I did the first 2 times. I played the last 4 bars, or the last really 5 bars, pretty much verbatim. But just thinking about those minor pentatonics and playing other ideas, you know, that's why I started out with, the scale form, right? Patterns that you do in those scalar ways where you're just thinking about one pentatonic and just playing it over and over again and really getting it under your fingers, the easier it is to apply different tonalities and different patterns and different key centers over tunes like this. You know, pentatonic shifting is really the over umbrella of what I'm talking about. So, you know, if I say, or if I'm thinking in my head, I want to have that angular sound on F major, maybe I play G sharp minor. I don't play this pattern. I play maybe one from the one of those exercises. Right? You know what I mean? So you can always switch between, you know, you're taking that same minor sound and playing your own pattern. You know, I think it's good to improvise with the material. I talk about this in all my master classes. It's really important to improvise with the material that we have here, but also just the concept in general. Like, what sound are we portraying here? And in this case, it's that G sharp minor over F, so you can play other patterns besides the one that's written. It's good to improvise around with the things that you're learning. So just keep on looping that section here. Exercise, you know, play the exact line, play away from it, just look at the alternate changes below and play your own patterns. Always be improvising with the material that you're working on. I think that's super important. So let's hear another real world version of this. This is a great transcription on YouTube by the great Steve Grossman on Softly's Morning Sunrise, and there's one particular part I want to check out. So we're just going to listen to a section of this here. On the last A section of the tune, right? So, the last A section before going to the bridge, right? So this is like D minor, E, A, D minor, E, A, D minor, E, A, D, 2-5 going to F, right? So let's analyze this for a second. So D, F, A, C sharp, A, C natural, right? Very interesting sound. On the flat third, he's playing F sharp minor and then landing on the flat 5. You could say that it's D major with a natural 7. You know, there's lots of ways to define it. But he's moving this kind of up in major thirds, or just up in thirds. Then he plays A flat, B natural, E flat, so like A flat minor to D flat. So taking that same idea and moving it in a different progression over these changes that are completely not related to the chords that he's playing them on, right? Right, so he's playing, you know, again, kind of outside. He's playing this over like E, A, D, G, C. C, and then eventually he resolves down to F. So that's a really cool line to include into your practicing, right? So then you can loop just to here and work on playing that same line that Steve Grossman is doing in your solo. Examples, you know, of that little section. I just kind of messed around with it. Tried to play it in the same place, tried to play it in different places, but just messed around with that sound, that shifting tonalities, right? You're playing other changes kind of on top of the changes that are already in the song. So he's applying D minor, then he goes to like kind of an F sharp minor sound, then to A flat minor sound. Very interesting in kind of playing these different tonalities through there. So another really cool example of playing, the changes differently. Again, he does it one other time. Let's take a look at the back part of the solo here. So he's playing like F sharp major here, A natural, C sharp, F natural, D. Very interesting. It's kind of another thing that you could experiment around with. And then eventually you have all these different A sections of, Softly as a Morning Sunrise that are inside, like that scale pattern that we worked on, that are outside, shifting those pentatonics, and then taking some of these other lines that from other players, like for example, the Steve Grossman solo, that you can just kind of start messing around with and playing around over softly in different ways. Trying to play some of these different concepts that we're talking about, and just improvising with them. So taking in this three-step process of learning some new information, basically playing it in a scale form, playing it around two different tonalities of the scale and all 12 key percussion like we did over Autumn Leaves, and then checking out a transcription, right? So checking out this transcription of Steve Grossman. There's a great one by John Coltrane that is really great and good to listen to. Him playing soprano. Plays a lot of really interesting ways of kind of shifting outside of the tonality. So taking advantage of this kind of playing, I think is, or not taking advantage of, but practicing this material in this way is really taking to play that cool concept. I think it's kind of a three-step process just to playing outside the changes. This is basically like three ways of getting it into your playing, So if you have any questions, this would be great. I hear the music just fine, but when you are speaking, it's barely there, which probably can't be fixed. Okay, I can try and push up my mic levels here. Let's see. Okay, hopefully that's better. Let me know. I'll make sure that I fix that for next time. My apologies if it was a little low. I'll have to check that out next time we do this. We do this every week, every Sunday, usually in the afternoon. So definitely be on the lookout for another video. But before I split here, I want to see if you guys have any questions. I see that there's some people still here watching. So as far as working on these kind of things, oh, it's better. Good, good, good. As far as working on these tonalities and outside ways of playing, if anybody has any questions on pentatonics or even melodic chromaticism, we have a masterclass that we did on that, kind of playing different enclosures and things, to video series on that as well. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I also teach in this online community that Jazz Lesson Videos has called Jazz Gym. I'm a trainer for them, and I explained this a little bit in the last session, but Jazz Gym is an online community where from the Jazz Lesson Video suite, basically going over, playing 2-5-1s better, different harmonic progressions, transcriptions, all this different stuff. And you get like an hour of time in this masterclass Zoom meeting that we have. And then you also get some private lesson time with the trainer. Chad is a trainer, I'm a trainer, Jaden Clark is a trainer, Austin Kruchek's a trainer, Nathan Gabriel's a trainer, Spencer Holfort's a trainer. There's all these guys that are really great. You can ask questions for them, you can sign up for it. There's 2 sessions every day, except on the weekends there's 1 a day. And it's really great. It's basically like a more in-depth version of these YouTube videos where you can actually really talk and play for me, and we can get feedback, and you can meet all the other members who are doing great and learning and doing all this. I want to mention before I split that there is an RFD or an RD5 code to use on all these materials that we were going over today, like the pentatonic patterns for jazz, as well as the pentatonic shifting phrases PDF books. There is a little package that you can check out and get $5 off if you click that hyperlink in the description there. So definitely take advantage of that. And let us know what other concepts you want us to work on these live streams and these live videos. We've done a few of them, going over different ways of playing outside the changes, different ways of playing chromatically, different ways of playing fundamentals, what we did last week. So let me know what else you guys want to check out and learn about and talk about. And please light up the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys as we continue doing these master classes every week. Definitely looking forward to next week's. And if anybody has any questions, now would be the time to do so. Just going to refresh my chat here. Yeah, all right. I think playing, all these, taking ideas from books like what we have here and other people's transcriptions and just trying to improvise with them, freely. Just put on a backing track and see how many different ways you can apply D minor pentatonic over this tune. How many different ways you can apply E flat minor pentatonic on this tune. How many different ways you can apply that Steve Grossman line going through different cycles, like up and minor thirds, major thirds, all this stuff. I think it's a really cool way of practicing. So I think since that's all I have to say here. Like I said, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat feature or the comments after this video is posted, so we can check them out and get all the material going on at Jazz Lesson Videos. So make sure you subscribe, use that discount. Hope everybody has a great rest of your Sunday night, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me. See you later.